Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all. Today we're going to be moving on to pack 4 of our Terminator build, and I gotta tell you, I am very impressed with this build so far. Way more super glue than I anticipated, and you know, I really hate that. I think they could have done this without all the super glue, but it is what it is. I'm also a little less impressed with the hand here, particularly the fingers. I did get his plasma rifle, which we'll showcase in a later video, but I tried to put it in his hand and the fingers are nowhere near strong enough to be able to hold the weapon, so the pose I had hoped to put this in is not going to work, but we'll show that off once we get much further along. But for now, we've got all the pieces from the previous packs here, and we've got all the stuff we need for pack 4, so why don't we crack it open and let's see what we got. Okay, and here are the parts we get with stage 31. We got the left shoulder blade, and we have the left shoulder blade fixing shaft, and the fixing cap, and the little plastic filler thing. We've also got the right shoulder joint and this is, okay, right shoulder joint. That's interesting, but okay. Along with the right shoulder joint insert and a little accessory on the left shoulder. All the left shoulder stuff we've already done on the right side, so there's no point in really showing that again. So let's jump to the right shoulder accessories. All right. There is the left shoulder with all of the parts, the shoulder blade and the extra piece attached. And I know this is gonna surprise the crap out of all y'all, but for the right shoulder accessory, we glue this in there. And that's it. And there you have it. Nice and glued in. And that actually completes stage 31. And here are the parts we get with stage 32. We have right shoulder end piece, whatever that is, right shoulder joint shaft, right shoulder joint cap, and this thing just a right shoulder end piece insert, which we all know is going to have to be glued again. And some screws. It should be noted some of these screws are Allen head screws, so you're going to need to pull out that Allen head wrench that they gave you. Alright, first things first, we're going to take this piece here and we're going to throw this insert in, and as usual, we got to glue it. There you go! Hooray for inserts! Alright, for this next bit, we're going to have to pull out the right shoulder joint. Make sure you've got the correct one. They're starting to look identical at this point. And you're going to take this piece right here. You're going to throw it in here. Now make sure this little peg here is pointing down when it's held in this orientation, okay? And you've got 2 screw holes right there. That's for the shorter 6mm screws. Alright, look at that. That ain't coming off anytime soon. Alright, for this next bit, we're going to take this from stage, this piece here from stage 31. We got this little cap. If you take a look, there are some flat edges in the hole here. And what do you know? Flat edges on this piece. And you just slide them together, just like that. Now it does fall right out, and what's really interesting is they don't say anything about adding any glue. So, but it's obviously not friction held either. It does have a screw hole in the center, so I'm assuming this larger screw that we've got here is going to go through and hold it in place. But we'll just have to wait and see. In the meantime, you can pull out the arm assembly that you've got right now, And up here at the top, you'll notice one side's kind of filled there, and the other side's empty. Guess which one this one goes in? That's right. Right into the empty slot. Now what's really interesting is this is perfectly round. But if you take a look here, this is keyed. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it should just fit right in. Not a big deal. It's not going to turn all the way, which is good. But in fact, it's not going to turn at all when it's all the way in. But there you go. Okay, now with that in place, effectively what we're going to do is we're going to take the right shoulder here and we're going to hold it in this orientation, okay? Note this as well as the external armor piece so that you can get the proper alignment of the shoulder joint here. And this is just going to pop right on in. Make sure this is facing upwards and when you do it. And then we're going to take this piece, we're going to slide it in from the inside of the arm, or the front of the arm, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, that's going to go all the way in through all the pieces. And then we're going to take one of these 10mm screws and we're going to tighten it all up to hold it together. All right, and there you have it all assembled, and the shoulder can move, and it does appear to be strong enough at least to hold the arm, so that's good. If you find it's a little too loose, you can always tighten the screw a little more, but we are getting some good motion out of this, and it is holding in place, which is exactly what we want. And here we are at stage 33. All right. Now this is interesting. This is the thoracic vertebra end piece. So that's awesome. Here's the bad news. We're not actually using it in this stage, so we're gonna have to set it to the side. All the rest of the pieces are all part of the left shoulder, and we've already done all of them on the right side. So, and here you have the parts from this issue on the left shoulder. And it looks exactly like the right shoulder, but still looking good. Oh yeah, here we are at stage 34 and we finally get some new pieces. All right, we've got the thoracic vertebrae frame. We've got the thoracic vertebrae part, okay? We got 5 little nuts here along with 6 screws, 2 different sizes. Alright, first up, we're going to take this piece here, and if you take a look, you can see that there are 2 holes here, hexagonal. I'm going to throw some nuts in there. And then, I'm going to take this piece from the last issue, I'm going to just kind of slide them together, just like that. Okay, and once they're together with the nuts in place, we're actually going to take the longer of the screws, they're 8mm screws, we're just going to screw them in from this side to hold everything in place. All right, and this is what it'll look like when that step is done. All right, for the next steps, we're gonna take the same piece here, and on this corner, which is the right-hand corner when you're holding it in this orientation, the right lower corner. And we're basically doing the same thing, 2 nuts. And this time we're gonna take this piece, we're just gonna slide that puppy in, line up the screw holes, and we're going to take the shorter 6mm screws and put them through there to hold it in place. Oh, okay, this is starting to look cool. I can't wait to see where this goes. But sadly, that is the end of stage 34. And here we are on stage 35, and we have another thoracic vertebrae part and another thoracic vertebrae frame. We also have some screws and nuts, just one type of screw this time around. And we got these 2 caps. Now these caps are rubber, but they're also different. They're labeled as left and right caps, and I don't know if I can get there you go. There is a little R in one and a little L in the other. So that's how you're going to be able to tell the difference between the two. All right, we're going to kick things off by taking this piece and we're going to add it to the frame that we built in the last stage, and we're going to do it in exactly the same way. Nuts here, screws on the other side. All right, things are starting to take shape. All right, next up, we're going to be taking these rubber caps here, and we're going to be fitting them into these openings here and here. Now, if you take a real close look at these parts, you can see there's an R and there's an L, and that will help you identify which cap you want to use on which piece. And each of these caps, in this case, focus, maybe get some light, there we go. This is the L. You can see there is a cutout. That cutout is for all of these pieces here. So it should just slip right in. It is supposed to be friction held, so no glue required. And there you go. And we want to do the same thing for the other side. And there you have it. And we're not actually going to be using this piece right now, but there you go. Things are definitely coming along, and that ends stage 35. And here are the parts we get with stage 36. Both of these, despite being completely different, are labeled as thoracic vertebrae part. And these two, which are actually identical, are simply labeled cap. So, wonderfully descriptive. As always, you do get some 6mm screws, some 8mm screws, and some more nuts. Alright, for this one, we're going to be using this part that we didn't use last time around. And this is going to fit on here just like in the last one. So, wait a minute. Let me get it in the right orientation here. There we go. Just like this. And there are a couple of holes here and little posts so that it'll line up and stay in place to help you screw it in. Nuts here, screws on the other side. The only real difference with this issue is this piece here. And this piece is actually going to go on the other side, and it lines up just like this. And you'll notice there are two posts on this side. Those are going to go in the two center holes, just like that. And we've got the nuts on the side, screws on the other. All right, and this is what it looks like when it's done. Should be noted, I actually had this reversed when I was demoing it earlier, but obviously I corrected it in order to screw it in. You're not going to be able to screw it in with the 6mm screws if you put it in the wrong way, so you'll definitely know if you got it the wrong way. But this is what we are left with at this stage, and we can take one of these rubber caps and just cover this with it, just like that. And we are done with stage 36. And here are the parts we get with stage 37. We have the other side of the thoracic vertebrae there, and I think we all know where that's going to go. We also have the thoracic cage joint, and then we've got, well, this is the shaft, and then this is the thoracic cage joint. Well, that's all they call it, thoracic cage joint. One's got the hole in it for the screw, the other one is solid. We've also got a set of screws and nuts here. Should be noted that all of the screws are 6mm, but one's 2mm wide, one's 3mm wide. It's really hard to confuse them. Alright, we're going to start by assembling the thoracic cage joint. And we just take the shaft, we take the piece that's got the screw hole in it and slide it right through just like so. And then we take this piece, we slide that in, should fit nice and snug. And then we're going to use one of the 3mm wide screws to hold it in place. And there you go, one thoracic cage joint. And now we're going to finish off stage 37 by attaching this piece. It's going to go on exactly the same as the other one. So you should already know how to get that done. All right, and with all that screwed in, don't forget to put the rubber cap in. And that is the end of this stage. And here we have the parts for stage 38. And we have another of these thoracic cage joints. All the pieces, including the screws. So I think we know what's going to happen with those. And we have this thoracic vertebra shaft. Looking forward to see where that goes. First up, we're going to go ahead and assemble the cage shaft, and it's going to go together exactly as the last one. Shoo! Look at that. And now we have two. All right, now we're going to bring out the thoracic vertebrae piece here from stage 35. It's important you get the right one. If you take a look at the two of them, one of them has these posts, one does not. You want the one with the posts. All right, you take the shaft here, and you will see that one side of it is keyed, okay? You want to take that keyed side, you want to throw that in there just like this. You can take a screw right through there to hold it in place. And there you have it. And that actually completes stage 38. And here are the parts we get with stage 39. We have a thoracic cage shoulder connection. It's kind of cool. We have these joint inserts, and we were doing so good. We got through so many stages without the need for super glue, but clearly this means it's coming back. And then we have these thoracic cage braces, two of them. We got a couple of locking washers here. We got some bolts and some locking nuts. To kick things off, we're going to take this here, and you can see the insert on where we're going to have to go, and this thing is going to go in there, and of course we have to glue it on both sides. And what do you know? They fit perfectly, and they are now glued in place. All right, this next bit's gonna be fun. You're gonna have to bring the arm back out, the right arm, with the shoulder joint, and you got the piece that we just modified. Now, if you take a look, one of these is smooth on one side, and it's got this design on the other. I don't know that it matters. It certainly doesn't say anything in the instructions about it, but based on their pictures, you're gonna want this design to be facing in this direction when you assemble it. Okay, and it will go in just like this. And basically what you're gonna wanna do is right here, you're gonna wanna take one of the spring washers, get that thing in there. Then you're gonna wanna take one of these locking nuts. You wanna insert that puppy in. And there we go. And that's just prep work for the moment, because we're also gonna wanna take a bolt here and get another washer on it, just like this. Now we're gonna throw this thing in just like this. Bolt goes in from the top, screw it in place to hold it steady. Now, as you can see on mine here, it's kind of loose, but it is staying in place. But tighten it until you're comfortable with the range of motion that you have. There we go. After a good tightening, look at that. Enough to move, but it's gonna stay in place no matter where I put it. Guess what? Now we get to do the same thing for the left shoulder. All right, and there you go. And actually, with all that in place, if you want, you can even bring this down, make it a little bit easier to manipulate. And here are the parts we get with stage 40. We have 2 thoracic struts, we got 2 socket liners, we have a thoracic cage base, and we got some 6mm screws, 2mm wide, 3mm wide, and a whole bunch of nuts. Okay, we're gonna kick things off by taking this piece here with this in it. We're gonna take these struts. You can see we've got 2 more places for them. And again, they are keyed on one side. So just slide it in, and we're gonna use the 3mm screws to hold it in place. All right, look at that. Next up, we're gonna need 4 of those 2mm wide screws and a bunch of nuts. And if you take a look at this assembly here and look on this side, you can see there are 4 places for those nuts. And on this side, you can see where the screws are gonna come, as well as 2 posts. You take this piece that we got with this issue, and you can see there are 6 holes, 2 of them larger, to help line everything up. Goes just like that. And screws on this side, nuts on the other, to hold it all in place. And there you go, looking good. All right, next up, we're gonna take the 2 bars that were in the last stage here. We're gonna fix them on here. Now, these are not gonna be tight yet, but that is where they're gonna go for now. Next, we take one of these inserts. It's gonna go right in there, just like so. Not much to it. All right, this next part is where we're gonna start putting a lot of stuff together here. So first, we're gonna take the shoulder assembly with the right arm. We're gonna put it over this post right through that hole. And it should look like that once it's in place. Remember, these are still loose, so they may fall out during that step. You can just put them back in. Then we're gonna take these. We're basically just gonna set them down in here. Don't know that it matters, but the instructions have the screw holes facing up, so I am going to have them with the screw holes facing up. Now we're going to take the head here, and we got this little piece. It's going to slide right in there, just like that. All right, next up, we're going to take this piece and that. We're just going to slide that puppy in. And then it's got to fit over and make sure all of the different posts and everything line up just right. And this slides down on the head. And it should go something like that. Now there are 3 main holes, here, here, and here, and we're going to put 3mm screws in those. And then these 2 holes here will be 2mm screws. There you go. That actually completes pack 4 here. And just look at this puppy. He's huge. And I love it. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.